You know, managing DNS for a big, sprawling application, it can honestly feel like you're trying to untangle this massive, impossible knot. But what if you could just smooth it all out, turn all that complexity into a super clear visual flowchart? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into today with Amazon Route 53 Traffic Flow.
I mean, if you've ever been in the trenches wrestling with a huge set of DNS records, trying to set up failovers or figure out the best way to route users all over the globe, you know the headache I'm talking about. It's a classic problem. Your application grows, and suddenly, telling all that traffic where to go gets really complicated.
Just think about it for a second. You might have, I don't know, dozens of web servers all for one domain, and you've got to build these pretty sophisticated routing trees, right? Ones that can handle a failover if a server suddenly goes offline. Or maybe you're trying to use latency policies to get your users to the absolute closest, fastest endpoint. Trying to manage all of that by hand? Yeah, that's a massive, massive challenge.
Right, and the old way of doing this, well, it usually meant making manual updates to just countless records. And let me tell you, that process is so incredibly error-prone. One typo and things can go sideways. Plus, there's no easy way to actually see how all your records are connected. And forget about versioning. If you make a mistake, there's no simple rollback. This is where Traffic Flow just completely changes the game. It takes that tangled mess and swaps it out for a slick visual editor. It gives you a safety net with version control, and it automates all that tedious record creation. It literally turns chaos into clarity.
Okay, so how exactly does Traffic Flow pull off this rescue mission? Well, at its very core, you can think of it as a visual blueprint. It's something designed specifically to bring a sense of order to even the most mind-bendingly complex DNS setups.
So the heart of Traffic Flow is this thing called a traffic policy. And really, just think of it exactly like that visual blueprint for your web traffic. It's like a flow chart. You can see precisely how a user's request is going to travel through your system, from the failover rules all the way to the specific server endpoints. All of a sudden, the entire logic is just right there, visible in front of you.
The real power of Traffic Flow, when you get right down to it, comes from three main advantages. You can visualize your setup, you can version your changes, and you can automate all the tedious work. So let's break each one of those down.
And these aren't just, separate features sitting on a list. They actually work together to create this really powerful loop. You visualize your plan, you version it so you have a safety net, and then you automate the deployment. Let's see what that actually looks like in practice. Okay, just picture this for a second. Imagine you're trying to configure latency records that point to weighted records, which then route traffic to servers in totally different regions. If you're looking at that in a text file or a giant spreadsheet, it's just a recipe for confusion, right? But with the visual editor, that whole mess becomes a clean, logical tree. It's something that anyone on your team can look at and immediately understand.
And here's that safety net I was talking about. This part is huge. Every single time you edit your traffic policy, Route 53 automatically creates a brand new version. It never overwrites the old one. So what does that mean? It means if your new configuration isn't quite working out the way you expected, you can just roll back to a previous, known good version. It takes just a few clicks. No panic, no stress.
And we're not talking about just saving a few changes here and there. You can have up to 1,000 versions for every single traffic policy. I mean, that is a massive safety net. It gives you the freedom to experiment, to optimize, and to evolve your routing logic without being afraid of breaking something. Okay, so you've designed this perfect visual policy. Now what? How do you actually apply it to your domain? Well, it's surprisingly simple. You do it with a single thing called a traffic policy record. You just create one of these in your hosted zone, point it at your traffic policy, and that's it. Route 53 handles everything else. All those complex underlying records, they're all managed for you, totally out of sight. And the best part is, this keeps your main hosted zone incredibly clean and simple to manage. No more clutter, no more confusion. All right, to really see just how powerful this is, let's look at a real-world example. We're going to check out an advanced routing type that honestly would be a nightmare to set up manually, but Traffic Flow makes it incredibly simple. Geo-proximity routing.
So the basic idea behind geo-proximity routing is super simple. You want to serve your users from the server that's physically closest to them. It's a straightforward concept that can dramatically slash latency. But think about it. Actually trying to figure out all the complex geographic boundaries for a global user base, doing that by hand would be a monumental task.
And this is where that visual editor really truly shines. As you start tweaking your geo-proximity rules, you see this interactive world map updating in real time. You get these color-coded regions that show you, instantly, which users are going to be routed to which endpoint. All the guesswork is just gone.
But wait, it gets even better than that. You can fine-tune this whole thing with a simple setting called bias. So let's say you want to send a bit more traffic to one of your resources. Easy. Just give it a positive bias, any number from 1 to 99, and that expands its geographic reach. Want to send less traffic somewhere? Use a negative bias. You're basically doing really sophisticated traffic shaping with just one simple number. It's awesome.
Okay, so we've seen all these powerful pieces. Now let's connect the dots. Let's walk through how a policy actually goes from just a design on your screen to directing live traffic from your users.
And the workflow is just beautifully straightforward. It's really just 3 steps. First, you design how you want your traffic to flow. Step 2, you build that design in the visual editor, and that's what creates your traffic policy. And finally, step 3, you create that one single traffic policy record to link the policy to your domain. And that's it. You're done.
And check this out. This is a massive time saver. Let's say you have the exact same server set up for multiple domains, like example.com, example.org, and example.net. You don't have to rebuild that whole logic 3 separate times. Nope. You just build one traffic policy and then you can reuse it by applying it to all 3 of your hosted zones. Super efficient.
So the crucial point here, the big takeaway is this. Traffic flow takes what used to be this really complex, fragile text-based system, and it just completely transforms it. It turns it into a visual, version-controlled, and highly automated process. And what that does is it saves you time, it dramatically reduces errors, and it gives you this incredible, unprecedented level of control over your global traffic.
So I'll leave you with a question to think about. How would having a visual, version-controlled blueprint for your DNS actually change the way you architect your applications? I mean, when you can see, test, and safely deploy your routing logic this easily, it really opens up a whole new world of possibilities, doesn't it?